Good afternoon. Hopefully you can hear me. So thank you and welcome for attending this next in the series of Successful Introvert Workshops. It's always good to see people here, whether many or few. Just a bit in my background. I come from a background of working for 30 years in financial services, and for many of those it was really didn't feel valued and appreciated as an introvert. And over the last few years, I've really been on a bit of a transformational journey, discovering how to achieve things I want to do. And I've really taken a bit of a change in direction, retrained as coaching, really following my passion, helping people achieve their full goals. 4 years ago, you wouldn't have really found me sitting here because I reached a point I needed to change. And to be honest, the first step I really took in learning to find my voice was to join Toastmasters. It's probably the best. The decision I really made, because it taught me how to feel comfortable talking to groups of people. And today, as we continue working through the subjects, I really want today to focus on the concept of feeling valued and appreciated by your boss at work. And there's really a big area. I know we can always assume what someone else thinks about us, but what do you really know what they want from you? And that's really the big question. I mean, how do you feel appreciated at work? It's just taking a little time to reflect on that. Starting point is always to know where you are. And feeling a bit frustrated, overlooked, ignored, feel cut out of conversations. You're sitting there quietly getting your work whilst others stand around and chat. I know that I've been in that situation at work, because as an introvert, I manage my energy levels to do what I want to do, and sometimes you feel sort of left out because you don't have that energy to join in those conversations. And so it's really been around finding out what really works for me going forward. That's something we're just going to start thinking about today. And whenever we want to change something that's going on, we're unhappy with something in our lives, the important point is to start with finding a positive way to describe what we want. But it needs to be a positive statement of what we're really looking for, because that is where we want to be. And describing where we want to be can really help us understand what the difference that will make. We can notice how we feel different inside when we think about that. So I might say, for instance, I want to feel appreciated, fulfilled, motivated, engaged in my job, and know that my boss appreciates what I do for the team. But just take a few seconds to jot down a few ideas. And as you start to think about it, if you've got any comments, do just raise them in the chat, or I'm happy to respond to any comments. Think about what a 10 out of 10 feels like. How will you feel walking into the office in the morning? How will you feel at team meetings? Notice what is happening differently. And think about where you are at the moment. Knowing where we want to be. Yeah, so thinking about, so coming up with, what you want to be, what the 10 out of 10 looks like. I mean, what will be happening as when you've achieved it, so you're at the top. It's really the starting point. Think about what that feels like. What you'll be noticing, what will be happening different at work, what do you think will be happening, what will you be feeling? What does it feel like when you get up in the morning and about to start work? What does it feel like at the end of the day? Take a few seconds to think about what 10 out of 10 is. As you write down these, just notice how it makes you feel, just noting down where you want to be. This is really an important step. You define the statement and then defining what that means, bringing it down from the very highest level. This is where, but what actually does this mean? That enables us to start thinking about how will you know you are there. When you know you are there, this is something you can achieve. We can achieve. This is something we can move forward on. It's thinking about what's next in there. So now I can sit here, close my eyes, and just bring out the image, the senses, the sound, the noises, the picture. I notice that inner happiness, achieving the 10 out of 10 makes me feel feeling noticed and appreciated. The boss is really engaging with me how I want to, on my terms. Now the teammates are connecting with me differently. Having this sense of success is really important for the next step. It just helps us to really engage. Taking that sense of knowing what success feels like. The important question is, what is your boss wants? We often assume everyone wants the same things we do, but in reality, that's not what life is. Different sorts of people are looking for different things, and they expect different things from the staff. And if you're not happy where you are, the thing is noticing what you're doing differently to other people and who you believe do have the success you're looking for. Notice what your boss appreciates. Is your boss a detailed man? Are they looking for quick, detailed interaction, results focused? They don't want problems, they want old solutions. You've done something. Well, there's someone who loves to engage in small talk. Is that what's important to them? Is that having a chat about their interests, what they did at the weekend, football, weather, where they've been, whatever is their interest? Is it that what is creating the trust and respect you're looking for? Noticing these things is really helpful, because if you want to change where you are, you've got to be more aware of what's going on around you. I mean, you can change how you interact with people, what's going on. So if they're looking for a simple presentation of facts, evidence, basis to confirm a decision, that's what you're looking to give them. If they want you to give them a list of options, so they decide. That is the approach you take. And we have to learn to give and take on what our natural style is. Knowing where your boss sits, knowing how you engage with people, if we engage with most, can make a big difference. Self-awareness is a great skill to learn and master, and this is really, I want to think about it. Often subconsciously do this, and sometimes our subconscious get into going in the wrong direction, get into flight or fight mode. And noticing when that happens can be really powerful, because it's really, the big question is really, what can I do different? What could be different if I change my approach? Think about you in the office, how you start the day. When I was an introvert, I've got a limited amount of energy, and going in and having a 20-minute chat with people who've never been the way I would start the day. That just drain all my energy. And I've always, when I was working in an office, needed to take 20 minutes at lunchtime just to be by myself and recharge my batteries for the afternoon. That is noticing what I need to do to perform my best. When we move beyond that, is understanding actually, what is my boss looking for? So as simple is, do you speak to them in the morning? What are you saying? Sometimes it's just simply remembering things that they've done. So knowing they've been to what social stuff they've done outside work, they've been to theatre, they've been to football, cinema, or whatever they've done, just remembering to ask them about it in the morning. And it's not about a long conversation. Getting in the habit of finding a level of conversation you're happy with that just changes how you interact with them to more engage. And being conscious of what's going on. I know I was often would have been the first one at the office, get in, sit down, crack on my work, and I could be so engaged in my work I wouldn't notice other people coming in. And some people would see that as rude because you don't speak to them, but actually that was just me. And I had to notice I needed to make a subconscious effort to be more aware when other people arrive in the office and acknowledge that they had arrived. And that's just taking a small step out of my natural environment. It's really thinking, actually, what are the top 3 things you think you could do different? What have you thought as you're sitting here? There's so many things to think about. So I've had morning or draining conversations on the phone, trying to find a plumber to fix our solar hot water system, and it's just a series of frustrating conversations trying to get hold of people and trying to find someone who's actually available to help, and noticing the impact that has on my preparation for this afternoon is quite interesting. I noticed I had to change my normal routine and just break up the chasing around, phoning people to go out, walk around the block, to reset the mind so I felt in the place to come here and talk. It's all about taking control, having comfort to do and the confidence to do what you want to do, and thinking, I can do things differently. For me, it's always been about being on that journey of discovering and noticing things. guess as an introvert, I often sit and observe. Those observation skills as an introvert can be really helpful in noticing what's going on and making the time to talk to people, because you notice when someone's unhappy and someone feeling frustrated and someone could just do with a quiet word. And doing those on your terms can be really powerful. Yes. And often can have a bigger effect than the bold, brash person who's just talking about themselves and making everyone laugh. It's about being different. It's about being you and doing what you want to do. It's thinking, what could be different if I change my approach? In every life really, but in a work environment, we're thinking about engagement with the boss. What could we do different? And making that small conscious effort to be different, do different, be you, make a huge difference going forward. Sometimes it's worth just jotting down 3 different things really. What you will do differently. Looking at past bosses and see the different styles. I know the type of bosses I actually prefer working with. And sometimes reflecting, oh, that's why, 2 different personality types trying to engage, sometimes we can clash, and finding out actually how do I reduce that clash can be an important step. So what is it you want to achieve? What's the first small step you could take this afternoon? I often talk about people finding the first small step, because if you're feeling stuck, you want to change it, you don't know where to start. The smallest of steps just breaks that situation and demonstrates, actually, I can do something different. And it's noticing what works. It's being aware that we don't always get things right. The choices we make are not always the best ones. And the advantage is to see what works for you, what is comfortable. There's so much more to dig in around my step, but knowing you will move forward is a really one step. Knowing you're moving forward is the first step. Having taken the second step, the first step is knowing where you want to be and what they're going to make you feel like. You know where you are now, and thinking, what will bring me one step forward? I know that, for instance, being someone with a stutter and stammer, that I learned to live with that and control that. And some people see that as a negative thing, and I know I'm never going to change their mindset around that. But me, one big step was becoming comfortable with that and knowing that actually having a stutter and stammer is really a strength. That's a bold strength that I have, and something that helps me. Again, seeing the positive in that was a big small step forward. I myself on the constant journey, learning what can I do better, what didn't work well today. I'm finding that these workshops are a way for me to explore, in a brief overview, some of the stuff I've been doing working with people. I'd explore a bit more, take out the one-to-one conversations and try and explore it slightly differently. That's really the powerful thing about the small steps. You try something, find what works. But I really help you've got something from today. I've said many times on these, my energy for speaking generally lasts for about 20 minutes. Then I just find my energy runs out. I get the warning light coming on going, time to stop. I'm running into the reserves. So that is being comfortable with who I am and being honest with who I am. Not really someone who needs people who love standing up talking for an hour, 100% energy, because that's just not who I am. So I loved it. I love exploring subjects, and as being a reflective person, I learn something every time I do one of these. I go away and think, oh, I hadn't thought of that. And I'd really love to know your thoughts as well. If you do want to know more, explore how I might be able to help you going forward, please feel free to reach out. You can email me at brian@brianpauljohnson.com, or just drop me a message on social media.